Everyone has that one scene that sticks with them from horror, being it a certain movie scene, a select chapter of a book, or even a portion of a game. The one that just lingers in the back of your mind, just waiting for you to think of the vaguest connection before it springs back in all its gory goodness. Today I'm going over my top 5 favorite scenes in horror games, and I welcome you to share your own in the comments down below. If this is the first episode you've seen in my October top 5 series, be sure to check the rest of the playlist out here, and subscribe to catch plenty of horror gameplay videos. Number 5. The Hallway. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Nightmare House 2 is my favorite free horror game, and don't at me, bro. But seriously, this game managed to take the Half-Life 2 engine source and work it into a game full of great scares, interesting stories, and really good design. The scene that caused me to instantly fall in love with the game was this hallway, where you're walking down a narrow corridor, only to run into a dead end. Turning back once you realize you must have made a wrong turn somewhere, the hallway slightens ever so shortly, and again you turn around. And this repeats until eventually you're trapped in a small box surrounded by walls. There's only one way to really look, up, and that's when you see the antagonist, Emily Romero, floating above you. She lets out a shrill scream, and the floor gives way, sending you out of the nightmare. Number 4. The Groom's Torture. Whistleblower is probably my favorite in the Outlast series, and while it doesn't have a standalone story like 1 and 2 do, it builds upon the first game extremely well and introduces a handful of truly grotesque characters. One such monster is the Groom, a patient of Mount Massive Asylum. Formerly known as Eddie Gluskin, the Groom has a tragic story of abuse at the hands of both his father and uncle, shaping him into the aggressive beast he is today. The scene I most remember from the DLC is following Wayland's capture. You awake strapped to a torture chamber, stripped of your clothes, and a buzzsaw is positioned right between your legs. Eddie's fully committed to making you his bride by any means, even if you don't survive. And as a guy, this part had me squeamish. And luckily a patient bursts into the room and starts fighting with Eddie, allowing you to make your escape. Number 3. Robert Ducky. Master Reboot is a little known game that I played back when I started my channel. It was a sci-fi style Tron horror game that involved viruses, murder, and some really well designed jump scares. One of my favorites from the game was in the school level. You've been collecting notes and a little rubber ducky throughout the game. You find one on top of a nearby locker. Thinking nothing could be wrong, you walk over to reach for it, when something pops out of the locker and grabs you. Sarin.exe has a unique look to her, and this scare came out of nowhere, but was also surprisingly fitting for the game, showing you a goal to grasp only to have it fail in your face. Number 2. Meeting Pyramid Head. Alright, you know I had to include Pyramid Head somewhere in this series. And the second meeting with Pyramid Head really confused me as a kid. Looking back at it, I couldn't believe how naive I was. The protagonist James stumbles upon Pyramid Head, having his way with a couple of mannequin creatures. James sneaks into a closet and watches through the blinds as the monster shambles around carrying the corpse of one of the mannequins, and pauses in front of the closet, allowing you to see the full stature of him. Rusty red metal encasing his head and a blood-soaked apron. Firing several rounds into the beast, it causes him to momentarily stumble and scream. He then lumbers away from the room, only to meet James again. Number 1. Stick a needle in your eye. There are 2 things that can really unnerve me in a horror game. That's creepy dolls and eyeballs being messed with. While Dead Space 2 doesn't contain any creepy dolls, at least as far as I remember, there is a scene later in the game where you encounter a large MRI-looking machine. This machine can extract or input information into a person's brain via the ocular cavity, and Isaac plops himself into it. There's just one issue. Your eye is still in the way. The needle slowly descends and it's up to the player to keep Isaac's iris steady. Once the needle is inside his eye and the information is injected, Isaac now has what he needs to destroy the marker, and the needle removes itself. If you're too shaky though, the needle cannot find a clear entry and the result is... less than ideal. So there we have it, the wrap up of this year's miniseries, Top 5s. If you have an idea for miniseries in the future, be sure to let me know in the comments down below and let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my lists. If you like horror gameplay videos, be sure to subscribe and check out some of my other videos. And lastly, have a great day and remember to burn bright.